Okay, this is a new topic for Operation Research 1. In the previous topic, you have learned about linear programming. And right now, we are move to the next topic, which is transportation problem. Actually, transportation problem is a special case of linear programming. So it means that we can also use the simplex or original simplex method to solve transportation problem. But since the problem uh, is unique for transportation problem, then there is also a specific algorithm that is designed to solve transportation problem. So we're going to learn the transportation problem for 2 meetings. In this meeting, I will focus on how to determine initial basic feasible solution. Yeah. And then in the next meeting, we continue to learn how to find the optimal solution. So initial basic feasible solution means only initial solution. Yeah. So to find initial solution, you will learn there are 3 methods that we can use. Okay. But before that, let me explain first the introduction of the transportation problem. What kind of situation that can be considered as a transportation problem? So if you refer to the textbook, so it is in chapter 5. Yeah, so you may go through the textbook so that you can read the details of the topics. Okay, we have several objectives, yeah, for this lecture. The first is you have to understand the situation of transportation problem, and then you know how to apply the transportation algorithm. And then number two, understand the basics of the transportation algorithm, and the last one is to generate a basic feasible solution for the transportation problem. Okay, so this is a transportation problem. Yeah, as I have mentioned earlier, that it is a special case of nonlinear programming problem. So later you will notice that the mathematical models in this problem, transportation problem, is actually a linear programming also. Yeah, and because it is unique, yeah, the characteristic is unique. That's why the transportation problem can also be solved by a special algorithm called transportation algorithm. Yeah, so transportation algorithm is more efficient compared to the original simplex method. And then the situation is like this. The transportation problem is concerned with specifying how to disposition a single product from several sources to several destinations at minimum cost. So the problem concerned with how to determine the delivery from several sources to several destinations at minimum cost. So from this statement, we know that the objective function of transportation problem is always to minimize the cost. Yeah, because usually we focus on the cost. Yeah, that's why we try to minimize the cost. So here you can see the figure here. In the right side, yeah, you can see the node circle here. On the left side is the sources. Yeah, while the circle on the right side are destinations. Yeah, you can see here. So the problem is how to determine the number of products or items sent from each source to each destination so that we can get the minimum cost. So that there are several information here. You can see first the M M here refer to the number of sources, while N refer to the number of destination. And you can also see here that each source has its capacity. For example, A1. A1 refer to the capacity source 1, while A2, of course, refer to the capacity source 2 until AM, capacity of source M. Yeah. And then destination has its demand. For example, B1. B1 refer to the demand at destination 1. B2, demand of destination 2 until Bn, demand of destination M. Yeah. And then another information is CMN, or sometimes we call this as CIJ, and then XMN. CMN refer to the cost to send one unit from M to N. Yeah, so C refer to the cost, unit cost of sending the product from M to N, while XMN is number of units to send from M to N. Yeah, so we have this information, and of course the problem is how to determine the XMN or XIJ. Okay. And let's take a look at the example here. Yeah. The MG Auto Company has plants in LA, Detroit, and New Orleans. Yeah, so here we have 3 plants, and each major distribution center are located in Denver and Miami. So we have 2 DC. Yeah, distribution center is similar to the warehouse. Yeah, so we have plants or manufacturing company and also the warehouse. And here the capacity of 3 plants during the next quarter are 1,000, 1,500, and 1,200 cars. 1,000 here refer to the capacity of LA plants. 1,500 refer to the capacity of Detroit plants. And 1,200 refer to the capacity of New Orleans plant. And then here we have also the demand at the 2 distribution center, 2,300 and 1,400. So 2,300 is demand at Denver, while 1,400 demand at Miami. Okay. So first thing that you need to make sure whether the total cost, total capacity is equal to total demand or not. So we have to check first this one. Yeah. Total cost 1,000, total capacity 1,000 plus 1,500 plus 1,200, so 3,700. And then the total demand 2,300 plus 1,400, 3,700. So balance. Yeah, the value is the same. Okay. Now another information is the cost. Yeah, of shipping in dollar per car. You can see in the table. For example, 80. 80 is the cost of sending one car from Los Angeles to Denver. And then 215 is cost of sending one car from Los Angeles to Miami, and all of this. Yeah. And then you are asked to find the best strategy how to send cars from the plants to DC. Yeah, so this is the transportation problem, because we deal with how to determine the strategy to disposition or to send products from the source to the destination. In this case, the source is the plant, while the destination is the DC. Okay. Given this information, then we can start to make the mathematical model. Yeah. Okay, as we have seen from the previous slide, that the objective function is to minimize the cost. Yeah, so that's why we will consider this table, to determine the objective function. Okay, so let's see the next slide. So first we need to define the decision variable. Decision variable here is Xij. Xij refer to the number of units sent from location I or source I to destination J. As you can see, as you have seen from the previous slide, we have 3 sources, yeah, L and D, Los Angeles, New Orleans, and Detroit. And also we have two destination, V. Here is V refer to the Denver and then M Miami. Okay, after we define the decision variable and then we continue to define the objective function. Okay, the typical transportation problem always to minimize the total cost. That's why here we minimize the total cost of 80 times XLV. Yeah, so 80 is the cost of sending one product from L to V. That's why 80 times XLV and then 215 XLM until 86 times X and M. Yeah, so we minimize the total cost of shipping the product from the source to destination. And then we have two constraints here, subject, two part of constraint. The first three constraints related to the source, to the source, while the last two constraints refer to the destination. Yeah, so yeah, refer to the destination. Okay, I will write like this. Of course, the last one is the non-negativity. I think all of you still remember it. In linear programming, we have to add additional constraint, which is non-negativity. Okay, let us first discuss the first constraint related to the source. Yeah, constraint 1 and then constraint 2 and until constraint 3 is used to make sure that the product sent from the source, the total product sent from each store must equal to its capacity. For example, constraint number 1, XLV, from L to V plus from L, you can see from L to M equal to the capacity at L. Los Angeles capacity is 1,000. Constraint number 2, the product sent from D, Detroit, to V, Denver, plus Detroit to Miami equal to the capacity at Detroit. Number 3 also the same. The product sent from New Orleans to Denver plus New Orleans to Miami equal to the capacity in New Orleans plant, 1,200. And then the second constraint, which is constraint number 4 and 5, is to make sure that the demand at each destination are satisfied. As you can see from here, the demand, the product sent from L to V, and then plus D to V, and then plus N to V, you can see V means the total product sent to V or Denver equal to the demand at Denver, 2,300. The same constraint number 5, the product sent to M, Miami, from L, sent to M from D, and sent to M from New Orleans equal to the demand at New Orleans. Yeah. So constraint 1, related to the source, it used to make sure that the product sent from each source equal to its capacity. Cannot exceed the capacity. While constraint number 2, related to destination, wants to make sure that the demands are satisfied. So in general, we can summarize or express the transportation problem into this mathematical model. First is the objective function, always to minimize the total cost. Cij times Xij, and then we have two types of constraint. The first is related to the source, that the product sent from each source equal to its capacity. And then constraint number 2 related to the destination, that the product sent to its destination have to must equal to the demand, to its demand. While the last constraint is non-negativity, of course. Okay. Later, if you read the textbook, then you will find that the transportation problem can also be used to solve like production inventory problem, yeah, and the scheduling problem. Okay, how to solve the transportation problem? First, you need to make the transportation table like this. Yeah. So the transportation table is very easy like this. You have to draw the row. Yeah, row is the source. Yeah, while the column is the destination. Yeah, and then the last column refer to the capacity of each source, and the last row refer to the demand of its destination. Yeah, and then you have to put the rectangle here, like C11 refer to the cost of sending one product from source 1 to destination 1. And then CX11 refer to number of units sent from 1 to 1. And then let's see here, C23. C23 is cost of sending one product from source 2 to destination 3. X23 is number of products sent from source 2 to destination 3. Yeah, so this is the transportation table. You put the cost in the rectangle here, the lower right, yeah, lower right corner, yeah, like this. Okay, if we refer to the previous example, then the transportation table would be like this. As you can see, LA, the cost of sending the product from LA to Denver is 80, LA to Miami 215. The capacity of LA is 1000. Detroit also the cost of sending one product from Detroit to Denver 100, Detroit to Miami this one, and this is the capacity in Detroit plants. Yeah, and Denver, this one is the demand at Denver, 1400 is demand at Miami. And this is the original function. Yeah, so you have to know how to make the transportation table from the model. Yeah, so this is the first thing. Okay, after you know how to make the transportation table, then you can continue to the calculation, yeah, the algorithm. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, because it is a part of linear programming, of course you can solve this by using the regular simplex method, but of course more difficult. So it would be more efficient if you use the transportation method. Okay, so there are two steps, yeah, or two pieces to find the optimal solution. The first, yeah, our focus in this lecture is only number one, how to determine initial basic feasible solution. And the next meeting we continue to number two, how to find the optimal solution, yeah, from the initial feasible solution. Okay, we have two phases or two steps, and we focus on this step first. Yeah, how to determine the initial basic feasible solution. Okay, so to determine the initial basic solution, we have three methods. Yeah, the first method is called northwest corner rule. Yeah, the idea is very simple. That's why it is called northwest corner, because we need to start or we begin in the northwest corner. Northwest corner means upper left corner of the matrix of the transportation table, and then we move either down or to the right. Depend on whether the demand has been satisfied or not. If the demand has been satisfied, then we move to the right. If not yet, we move down. Yeah. So we will assign as much as possible to meet the demand, and then we need to move either down or to the right. Yeah. So northwest mean we have to begin from the northwest corner or upper left corner. Okay. This is the detail, yeah, detail steps. Later you can explore. So I will explain directly by using the example. Okay. Now let's take a look at here. Yeah. So this is the original problem, right? And then since we use northwest corner, so we always start from the northwest corner, or upper left corner. Yeah. So here we have 1000. Yeah, LA we have 1000 capacity and the demand is 2300. So we allocate as much as possible. So we allocate 1000. Yeah. If we allocate 1000, then automatically this becomes 0 and the remaining is 1300. Yeah. Okay. And because the demand have not satisfied all, that's why we move down. Yeah. So Detroit now have to cover 1300. Okay, let's see the supply. Oh, 1500. Yes, we can allocate 1300. So this one no more demand, and the remaining is 200. Okay, because the demand at Denver have been satisfied, then we move to the right. We move to the right. That's why we allocate 200 because the remaining is 200 become 0, and then this one is 1200. Because can not yet satisfied, then the arrow move down 1200, and then this one and this one is 0. Okay, so that is how we calculate the northwest corner. And after that, we continue the total to calculate the total cost like this. 1000 times 80 plus 1300 times 100 plus 200 times 108 plus 1200 plus 68. So the total cost is like this. Yeah, so that is northwest corner. Okay, and this is also the another example, yeah, of northwest corner. Again, we need to start from here, yeah, x11, yeah, and the demand, the capacity 15, the demand 5. That's why we allocate 5. Since it is already covered, then we move to the right. Yeah. Then see the demand is 15 and we still have 10. That's why x12 we allocate the rest, yeah, which is 10. You can see from here. Yeah. And then this one's not yet satisfied. That's why going down. Yeah. And then x22 is the rest, which is 5. After all the demand at B satisfied, we move to the right. Yeah. Okay, we move to the right. And then we still have 15, so 2, 3, 15, so already satisfied. Also C, move to the right again to x24, yeah. And then we put the remaining 5, not yet satisfied, and then move down, and all 10 we put in here. Yeah, so this is the step, and the total cost is 5 times 10 until 10 times 18, so 520. So that is the northwest corner. Okay, number 2. To find initial basic solution, then we can use the least cost rule. Yeah, least cost rule. The idea is very simple. First, you need to find the least cost, and then you allocate the demand as many as possible to satisfy the demand. And then you have to find another least cost until all demands are satisfied. Okay, let's see here. First, you need to identify the least cost. Yeah, which one is the least cost? Yeah, of course, 68. Yeah, and then we allocate the demand on that cell. Yeah, the demand is 1,400, the supply is 1,200, so we can allocate all 1,200. And the remaining demand is 200, and the supply is become 0. Yeah, so no more capacity in New Orleans. That's why we can simply cross out. And then next least cost is 80. So we can also the same, we allocate all 0, and the Denver demand becomes 1,300. And after that, find another least cost 100 and allocate as many as possible to cover the demand, and then the rest is this one 200. Yeah, so you can see we have assigned all the product to satisfy the demand. using least cost. The logic is very simple. And then after that, we calculate also the total cost, the same. The total cost, how to find the total cost is simply 1000 times 80, 1300 times 100, plus 200 plus times 108 plus 1200 times 68. That is least cost. Okay, this is another example how to use the least cost. Yeah, find the least cost to allocate as many as you can to satisfy the demand. Okay, and then we move to the next least cost. Yeah, because the demand of B have been satisfied, then we cross, and then we move to the next least cost 4, and allocate again 5. Yeah, and then the demand is already satisfied. The next is 9. Allocate again 15. You can see. And then the next is D. 11 here is the least cost, but since no more capacity, that's why we put 0, and then we move to the next least cost 18. We still have 5. And then next is 20, the rest 10. Okay, so that is the least cost rule. Then after that, we calculate the total cost, and we get this. Yeah, so this is the order, from X12 to X31 to X23 to X14, and then X34, and the last is X24. Yeah, so the order is start from the least cost to the next least cost to the next least cost until all demands are satisfied. Okay, and the last method for finding the initial basic solution is called Vogel's approximation method. Yeah, so this method is the more it needs more effort, compared to the previous one, because we need to calculate the penalty. The penalty is the cost difference between the lowest cost and the next lowest cost. We have to calculate the penalty for each row and each column. After that, we select the largest penalty and then assign unit and proceed like the least cost rule. Okay, I will show you the example. Yeah, so the step is, as I explained earlier, calculate the penalty, select the largest penalty, and then implement lowest cell and least cost rule in the largest penalty cell, whether row or column. Okay, now let's take a look at here in the example here. Yeah, remember we need to calculate the penalty for each row and each column. Okay, now focus on row 1. Row 1, 10. 10 here, 10 is comes from here, the difference between the lowest cost, this one 0, and then the next lowest cost is 10. So 10 minus 0 is 10. 2 also the same. 2 comes from here, 9 minus 7. And then 14 comes from 14 minus 0. And then 10 here, column 1 is 10 minus 0, column 2, 7 minus 0, column 3, 16 minus 9, and column 4, 18 minus 11. Okay, once we calculate the penalty and then we select the highest penalty. Highest penalty is 14. That's why 14 is row 3. So we need to assign the product to row 3. Which one? We select the least cost. At row 3, the least cost is 0. This one is the least cost. That's why we allocate in this cell 5. Because the capacity only 5. So we allocate that. Then no more capacity, and the demand also no more. So if the assignment is made, we deplete both the column and row. However, we eliminate just one. Just one. So it's up to you here. We arbitrarily eliminate the row. Okay. After this, then we need to recalculate the penalty, because some row or some columns maybe need to update the penalty. Okay. Like column 1, the penalty becomes 2. And then column 3, the penalty becomes 11. And then after that, we need to find the highest penalty also. The same. Column 4, update. Highest penalty is 11. 14 is no more. 14 is no more because row 3 already removed. So now the highest penalty is column 3. And then from column 3, find the least cost. The least cost is 9. That's why we allocate 15 here to satisfy the demand at row 3, column 3. Okay. You can see. And you have to repeat also the process. Update the penalty. Update again the penalty and then select the highest penalty. Find the least cost until all demands are satisfied. Like this. Okay. And then the solution would be like this. The total cost is 335. So Vogel approximation method is more difficult. But small sacrifice we can get better result. So using FAM, it is very good because later when we continue to find the optimal solution, the iteration need is less than if we use for example, northwest corner. The easiest is the northwest corner, but more iteration to find the optimal solution. But using Vogel, less iteration. Okay, so this is another example. You say, calculate the penalty, select the largest, 10, and then allocate at row 3. As you can see here. And then after that, update the penalty, select the largest again, row 1, and then you allocate at row 1. And then update the penalty. The next largest penalty is 11, row 2. Then you update also again. And then allocate the rest. Okay. So then after you find the solution, then you calculate the total cost. Okay. And the next is, what if the problem is unbalanced? Unbalanced means the total cost is not equal to total demand. If unbalanced, then we need to add the dummy. If total cost less than total demand, so we need to add dummy source. If the total cost more than the total demand, then we need to add dummy destination. Like this. This example, the total cost more than the total demand. That's why we need to add dummy destination. Okay, I think that's all for my first presentation on the transportation problem. Now you can continue to solve this problem.